Setting and respecting personal boundaries is a crucial skill for building healthy relationships, maintaining self-respect, and fostering mutual understanding. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define what we are comfortable with in interactions, behaviors, and expectations with others. They help us communicate our needs, protect our emotional and physical well-being, and create a foundation of trust and respect in all types of relationships, whether with friends, family, colleagues, or romantic partners. Understanding how to set effective boundaries and, just as importantly, how to respect the boundaries of others can profoundly impact our sense of autonomy and our ability to connect authentically with those around us. At its core, a boundary is a clear indication of where one person ends and another begins. Boundaries can be physical, such as personal space and touch, emotional, like the sharing of feelings and vulnerabilities, or even digital, governing how we interact online or through messaging. Establishing these boundaries begins with self-reflection. Ask yourself, what makes me feel safe, valued, and respected? Where do I start to feel uncomfortable, anxious, or drained? Recognizing your own limits is the first step toward articulating them to others. Once you've identified your boundaries, the next step is communicating them clearly and assertively. This doesn't mean being aggressive or confrontational. Rather, it's about expressing your needs honestly and respectfully without apology. For example, if you value quiet time after work, you might say, "I need half an hour to myself when I get home to decompress." If certain topics are off limits, you might state, "I'm not comfortable discussing that right now." The key is to use I statements that focus on your feelings and needs, rather than blaming or accusing others. This approach reduces the chances of defensiveness and encourages understanding. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not selfish, it's self-care. By defining what you are and aren't comfortable with, you give others a guide for how to interact with you respectfully. In turn, you create space for authentic, mutually fulfilling relationships. However, boundary setting can feel challenging, especially if you're used to prioritizing others' needs or fear conflict. Practice makes perfect. Start small, acknowledge your progress, and remember that your comfort and well-being are valid. Respecting the boundaries of others is equally important. It means listening actively when someone communicates a limit, without trying to persuade or guilt them into changing it. If a friend expresses that they need some alone time, honor that request without taking it personally. If a colleague asks that you refrain from making jokes about a sensitive topic, respect their wishes. By doing so, you demonstrate empathy and foster an environment where everyone feels safe to be themselves. Sometimes, boundaries can be misunderstood or even challenged. It's natural to encounter pushback, especially from those who may not be used to you asserting your needs. In these moments, it's crucial to remain consistent and firm. Reiterate your boundaries calmly, and remember that you're not responsible for others' reactions. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not on sacrificing your well-being to appease others. There are various types of boundaries that you may encounter or wish to establish in your relationships. Physical boundaries relate to personal space, touch, and privacy. For example, some people are comfortable with hugs from acquaintances, while others prefer a handshake or no physical contact at all. Emotional boundaries involve sharing personal information, managing emotional labor, and recognizing your role in others' feelings. For instance, you may set a boundary around not being the sole confidant for a friend's problems, or you may choose not to discuss certain aspects of your life with colleagues. Time boundaries are another important area. They help you protect your schedule and ensure that you're not overcommitting or neglecting your own needs. Saying no to extra work, declining social invitations, or carving out regular me time are all ways to honor your time boundaries. Material boundaries pertain to possessions and finances, such as lending money or sharing belongings. Digital boundaries, increasingly relevant in today's connected world, might involve defining when and how you're available for communication, or setting limits on social media interactions. To set boundaries effectively, start by reflecting on situations that leave you feeling uncomfortable, resentful, or taken advantage of. These feelings are often signals that your boundaries are being crossed. Next, identify what you need in these situations to feel more comfortable or respected. Then, communicate these needs clearly and assertively, giving examples if necessary. For example, "I appreciate your friendship, but I'm not comfortable lending money." Or, "I value our work together, but I need to leave the office by 6 each day to take care of my family." It's also important to enforce your boundaries. If someone repeatedly disregards your limits, remind them of what you've previously communicated. If the behavior continues, you may need to take further action, such as limiting your interactions or seeking support from others. Remember, setting boundaries is not about controlling others. It's about taking responsibility for your own well-being. Respecting others' boundaries requires empathy, patience, and open-mindedness. If someone shares a boundary with you, listen without judgment, ask clarifying questions if necessary, and acknowledge their needs. For example, "Thank you for letting me know. I'll make sure to respect that." Avoid pushing or testing boundaries. These actions erode trust and can damage relationships. If you accidentally cross a boundary, apologize sincerely and take steps to avoid repeating the behavior. In any relationship, boundaries may shift over time as circumstances change. Regularly check in with yourself and those around you to ensure that everyone's needs are being met. Be open to renegotiating boundaries as necessary, always prioritizing honest communication and mutual respect. Ultimately, setting and respecting boundaries is a lifelong practice that supports your mental, emotional, and relational health. It empowers you to advocate for yourself, fosters trust and understanding, and creates space for genuine connection. By embracing boundaries, you not only honor your own needs, but also contribute to healthier, more respectful relationships with everyone in your life.